Personally, I have felt that the trailers for HBO's The Gilded Age have been awful, like super cringe, so much so that I drag my feet watching the screeners. And I only clicked play on Monday night for two reasons. One, I needed stuff to cover this week. And two, the Moon Knight trailer was taking a long time to drop during the football game, so I was like, all right, I'll try this The Gilded Age. And I was enchanted. I'm so glad I watched it. Those trailers are so misrepresentative of the show. I hope that people discover it. So The Gilded Age is from Julian Fellowes and is meant to be the American version of Downton Abbey, the incredibly popular UK show, which has spawned 6 seasons and now 2 movies. I love Downton Abbey. I'm a big Downton Abbey fan, but thankfully, The Gilded Age is unique and, dare I say, very American. I think it really represents the American spirit. I'm very happy with it. Instead of a strong upstairs-downstairs division, one of the things that makes The Gilded Age very American is that it highlights the mobility within American society. The poor can become rich, very rich, and anyone can make something of themselves, from the recent college graduate who dreams of becoming a published writer, to the Pennsylvania lawyer who was able to quickly climb the society ladder thanks to his cleverness and dashing good looks. Yes, I do believe that HBO is hoping that this is their answer to not only Downton Abbey, but Netflix's juggernaut Bridgerton. This show also has a very sexy cast, particularly the guys, but it's chaste enough that it can still be kind of family viewing. I would say it's most of the time PG-13. The Gilded Age didn't have any swear words, at least that we know of, so that helps. I mean, at a few points, it is a soft R because it is HBO after all, and they have to meet that expectation as well. But I think it's very, very good. I don't think that anyone who likes Downton Abbey would be too shocked by anything that happens here. Oh, how I wish The Gilded Age had that coveted Sunday night spot on HBO, and it's going to air on HBO Max as well. That's when Downton Abbey used to air in the USA on PBS, and that's, of course, the night that HBO owns. It's appointment television. But now, instead, because they already have shows, very successful shows that are already taking up Sunday night, they've given The Gilded Age the Monday night spot. And that ain't bad, because Chernobyl was able to find real success there. So I can only hope that The Gilded Age does as well. So before we dig into the cast of characters, no major spoilers, by the way. The Gilded Age is a soap opera, so there are plenty of juicy reveals. But first, I want to help get you prepared for this show, because I think that before I saw the show, I did watch Captivating Histories. I was showing the trailer to someone, and in the recommendations for The Gilded Age, when I watched the trailer, in the recommendations on YouTube, I saw Captivating Histories 12-minute video on The Gilded Age, linked down below. And just as learning about, oh my God, the name escapes me at the moment, but that Giallo, the Italian horror genre, helped me better appreciate Malignant and Last Night in Soho. You really need to understand the history of The Gilded Age to really appreciate the show. And it's only 12 minutes. Because this is a real period in history, and this show, unlike Downton Abbey, is very much steeped in history, political, business, and social. And while none of the main characters are real people, some of the supporting characters are, and real people and events are name-checked. For instance, do you know who the Solomon brothers are? I think it would really benefit you to know, to have a crash course in this period, the Gilded Age. And the video link down below will provide that. It's particularly also fun to watch as a New Yorker, right? Highlighting the giant mansions built on Fifth Avenue. When Fifth Avenue was considered very high uptown and was, barely populated. Many of those mansions, in fact, still exist today, but have turned into museums and other landmarks. They have Central Park, a lot of areas in Central Park on display. Bloomingdale's, the original version, Bloomingdale Brothers, and Brooklyn. They highlight Brooklyn as well. I watched the first 5 of the 9 episodes for season 1. Yes, unlike Downton Abbey, one of our main characters is a woman of color, Peggy Scott, played by Broadway's Denee Benton. Great character, fabulous performance. Denee Benton has just like this inner light to her that just really shines. I remember when I went to see the first Downton Abbey movie, usually you watch TV yourself, but when I went to see Downton Abbey with a group being at the theater here in New York City, there were a number of fans of color in the audience. I, in fact, saw it twice, and that was the case both times. And I think it's wonderful and important that fans of color will be able to see themselves and their history showcased here in The Gilded Age. Now, of course, the show depicts Peggy's struggles as a black woman in the late 1800s, but it also shows the progress that Peggy and her generation are making. For instance, Peggy gets a job as a reporter. She's so spunky, I love her, for the New York Globe, which would eventually become the New York Age, a real publication, which was a prominent black newspaper at the time. And of course, the editor is quite handsome. So yes, while Peggy's story is historically accurate, the good and the bad, it's done in a way that she is a main part of this fantasy world. You know, that's why people loved Downton Abbey. It's an escape. And so she's not stuck being the Cinderella figure. You know, she's not a cook or a maid, but she's Christine Baranski's secretary. She does have to live upstairs, but it's revealed that she comes from, in fact, a very well-to-do family in Brooklyn that has their own staff. Now, I'm giving away these few details to reassure some of you who might be reluctant to check this show out because you feel it's not going to represent fully, you know, of the time period and who was there. And you might try it and stop watching because I think some of these details take a little too long to be revealed. But as I said, I saw the first 5 episodes, so all this stuff is revealed over the course of 5 episodes in delightful fashion. Very good. Now, the yin to Peggy's yang, their meet cute as friends, is fantastic. Is Louisa Jacobson's Marion Brooke, who is actually the weakest character on the show, saved by her fabulous clothes. She has some great fashions, and hurt the most by Jacobson's performance. In fact, while watching the 5 episodes, I wondered how she won the role, considering she's the least charismatic member of the cast by far. But then I discovered when I tried to, I was like, where'd she come from? She's Meryl Streep's daughter. She doesn't have the Gummer last name like Mamie Gummer, but she's Streep's daughter. But she's not, unfortunately, not as good an actress as Streep. Marion is supposed to be a Pollyanna figure, but she has none of Hayley Mills' energy and radiance, which, by the way, Denee Benton does have. Speaking of Pollyanna, this show reminds me also a lot of the American Girl collection, but for adults. And interestingly, for decades, the most popular historical doll that they had was Samantha Parkington, who comes from a similar time period. In fact, the Gilded Age happens to take place right in between the Samantha Parkington and Addie Walker doll time periods. In addition to focusing on these 2 young women new to New York City and trying to find their way in life and society, the other main focus is on the Russells. George Russell is a fictional railroad magnate, like many real ones at the time, and who has more money than God, it said, which was true of the time because there was no regulation. But anyway, he and his wife, who've made their fortune instead of inheriting it, are trying to gain access to the business world of New York City and its high society. But nobody wants to let them in because, you know, the old guard doesn't want the new rich. Morgan Spector and Carrie Coon are phenomenal, giving the show a Dallas Succession type feel as they scheme to get the better of this old guard. They do a great job. There were a lot of great, like, wow moments. I really loved it. A lot of really, really good stuff. I haven't seen a lot of Carrie Coon. You know, Ghostbusters was one of the biggest things I've seen her in, and her role there wasn't that big. I know a lot of you like her from, I believe, The Leftovers, another HBO show. HBO is very loyal to its talent in front of and behind the camera. But I know she has her fans, and I now am one of them. She is phenomenal on this show. Christine Baranski and Cynthia Nixon are the big name stars that they're trying to use to bring people in. 2 very different sisters who are quite wealthy and live across the street from the Russells and are Marion's aunts that she comes to live with, just like Pollyanna. Baranski is no Maggie Smith, but I don't think she's trying to be, and I think her character hasn't had a lot of development in the first 5 episodes, but she is very entertaining. But you know what she is a lot like? Aunt Polly Harrington, of course, from that famous story. And Nixon's character at first seems rather simple, but we quickly discover she's more on the ball than she seems to be. So I think her character is very interesting as well. By the way, also like Downton Abbey, this show has strong LGBT representation. Although it's a very different type of storyline. I love it. I think it's excellent. It's very complex. I'll actually be interested to see how people respond to it. But I think it's very representative of the times. And it's very steamy from episode 1. I love this show. After not wanting to watch it, like what a 180. What have you pointed out that I tend to love the shows the most that I did not want to watch at all. Arcane, being another great surprise. And I think there was one other one too, right, recently. But yeah, I just absolutely adore this show. I watched all 5 episodes in 24 hours straight. But unfortunately, you'll have to watch it week to week on HBO starting this Monday. But the first episode is supersized, a little movie at around 1 hour and 20 minutes, which, used to count for a movie back in the day. Now they're all around 2 to 3 hours. But it's a good chunk of a show. And my parents also happen to be big Downton Abbey fans, so I'm going to watch it again with them, and we're going going to have the Gilded Age viewing party, and I would recommend you do the same. Make a night of it, right? Who says Monday night has to be dull? Plan or order your favorite lavish meal, sit back and enter the Gilded Age, and make sure you watch that captivating history video. It's very, very important. All right, share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.